Hi again everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. So in this video I want to talk about kind of a recap of my first trimester of pregnancy. But before I get into that, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who left such kind messages on my last video where I announced that in case you missed it, I'm gonna have a baby, I'm pregnant, it's happening, and I just feel so much love and I'm so happy that you guys are excited with me because that makes me more excited. And also I'm so excited that you want to hear like the real raw truth about pregnancy and what I'm going through and all of that, because I could like paint a flowery picture, but as we're gonna get into this video, there's a lot of things about pregnancy they don't tell you. So I'm gonna tell you just in case, not to scare you, but just so you're prepared, because if I had been prepared, I would have been able to get into the mindset of how it's gonna go, instead of waking up one day and being like, oh my God, why do I feel this way? Why is this happening? Because so much information online is very like, oh, it's such a beautiful journey and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, lady. But yeah, so thank you so much. I'm so happy that you are excited to go on this journey with me. And let's get into my first trimester. I actually have my notebook here that I mentioned in my last video, because I've been writing down some things and I really want to document this whole process so I can look back and be like, wow, that's what happened. So I actually found out I was pregnant like the very first moment you possibly could. I usually have had a very regular cycle, and I'm gonna do a whole video on like how I got pregnant besides the obvious, because there's a lot of helpful information even if you aren't planning to get pregnant, just about how to regulate your cycle, because it all starts with that. So the first few days after I found out I was pregnant, I did not feel excited or I didn't feel it was amazing. I felt overwhelmed and stressed out and like, oh crap, only another word. I was kind of like, this is something that we wanted, but now it's here, and I was kind of freaking out because your life changes. For a woman, your life changes overnight, like especially my routine, and I'm a very routine person, it changes in a blink of an eye, and that's so hard to accept. And so if you are pregnant and in your first days or weeks of pregnancy and watching this, I get you, girl, because that sucks. So as you guys know, I was a very heavy coffee drinker. I was, which I'm gonna do a video about coffee. I was drinking a lot of coffee. Also with my migraines, basically all of the medications or like remedies and treatments that I was taking for migraines, can't take those. You know, I'm not a huge alcohol drinker. I wasn't really, like a glass of champagne here and there, and I don't use recreational drugs, but it's more like you can't have anything. No sushi. I was a huge sushi, ceviche eater. And also there's a lot of like weird little foods that you have to be careful about. So it's kind of like, I told my sister this and I think I freaked her out, because I'm like, it feels a little bit like you have a bomb living inside you. Like, okay, just walk up, just be very careful, especially in those first few weeks. You're like, okay, don't disrupt this bomb because you don't want anything to happen. So it's very overwhelming. And I started to feel honestly depressed, like an actual like diagnosable depression in those first few weeks, because I wasn't excited. I was like overwhelmed and scared. And no matter how many times I could see online that people are like, it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better, when you're in the throes of it, and I was having a lot of migraines as well, because I was like eliminating coffee and just my general normal migraines, and I felt so alone. It actually just happened that during the first week, or maybe it was the second week that I was pregnant, my husband was out of town, and so I was literally alone. And in those first few weeks, they're like, don't tell anyone. So I was like, I just felt like I was like, oh my gosh, do I want to do this? This is crazy. I feel horrible. But so I found out on a Saturday, and on Monday I called my gynecologist and told them, and they were like, oh, okay, congratulations. Well, and I asked them some questions about like, what medicines can I take for migraines and this, and they're like, we can't help you. You need to talk to your OB. But in the first few days of pregnancy, you don't have an OB. You need to find one. And I had just started a new job, so I called my regular doctor. She was out of the country for a month, so she couldn't help me. She couldn't tell me what is safe to take and what isn't to take. So I'm relying on looking online, like what can I take for a migraine? And then I started calling down my insurance list I started researching like the best OBs that were covered under my insurance. They were like, okay, congratulations, you're pregnant. So if you've already taken a pregnancy test, and I had taken like 2, I think, or 3 just to be safe. I don't know. I had like a 3-pack. So I'm like, let's take them all. And they're like, okay, well, we'll see you at about the 8-week mark. And let me tell you, when you've just found out you're pregnant and you've never been pregnant before and you're feeling like crap and you have a migraine and you're feeling really bad emotionally, the last thing you want to do is wait 6 weeks to see a doctor. So basically every doctor I called was like, we can't touch you, and I started crying on the phone, like bawling. I was like, I'm really not feeling in a good place. And so they said, let me see if we can get you in. And so they got me in, and I saw a nurse who just was gonna do another pregnancy test. And I was like, I already know. And she's like, oh, And I'm like, I am feeling so bad. And she's like, it's okay. And I don't know, something about that really like triggered me. And I was like, it's very easy for you to say it's okay, but I have a migraine. I started a new job that I cannot mess up at, and I feel like crap. I need to see a doctor. So I feel like that if you're in that position as well, I found that you really have to advocate for yourself and for your unborn child, because there's kind of like a standard that they're just going off of, like, oh, okay, we'll see you in 8 weeks. But if you're not feeling good, then you have to like speak up and say, really, I need to see a doctor. I don't feel well, please. So they were like, great, come back tomorrow at like 7 a.m. Because that was the thing too, is since I had started this new job, I really couldn't like take off a lot of time. So I came in to the doctor at 7 a.m. and my OB is amazing. I feel so lucky to have found her. She's so understanding, and she listened to everything, and she reassured me about a lot of things, like in terms of caffeine, because I was kind of like, oh wait, I can't have any caffeine, or can I, or what's, because there's so many different things online. And she helped me figure out kind of some remedies I can that are safe to take for migraines. And I don't know, like just listened to me emotionally, because like, I don't know, I could tell my husband, but it's very hard when they're not going through it and you talk to someone and they're just like, it's fine, it'll be okay, it's okay. And you're like, it's not okay, it's not okay. Which I understand. No, it is not okay, but it will get better. So from there, I would say weeks like 6 through 10, I had 24-hour nausea. Just 24-hour feeling like I might throw up, but who knows? And that is a really crazy feeling. And I think that's the hardest thing. Now that I'm getting over that, looking back, when I was in that, I was just like, this sucks. Like, and I'm being very honest with you all, because I feel like we need more of that, but I was having constant feelings of like, crap, I regret this. I was, and it was because I didn't feel well, and I just couldn't see the bigger picture, because when you have a migraine and you feel nauseous and you have no appetite and you're decaffeinated, you're like, this sucks. Like, this sucks. And it's harder to see the future, which I think is completely reasonable. So I was using a lot of ginger as remedy, which has been a lifesaver. I like have this joke with my OB, like I'm probably 43% ginger at any given time, because I was just doing anything to try and keep the nausea at bay. Luckily, I didn't have a lot of vomiting. Actually, for the first weeks, I don't think I threw up at all. It was just this like impending, so I didn't actually throw up, but just like this impending feeling like maybe you'll throw up. And at night, it got a lot worse, and I lost my appetite completely, which actually doesn't help your nausea, because my doctor was telling me that nausea, or like not eating, can cause nausea. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation. I was eating a lot of saltine crackers, which is not something I would normally eat because I follow a pretty healthy meal plan, which was very hard for me to adapt my meal plan because I was starting my morning with apple cider vinegar shots. Can't do that. I was not eating like white refined flour. Here I am eating a box of saltines, trying to keep myself from feeling nauseous. I don't drink soda. I was drinking ginger ale. So all of these things that seem insignificant, when you change up your routine, it does have a big impact on your energy levels, on your mood, and things like that. So I was feeling super tired, hard to focus because I wasn't drinking caffeine at that time because I was still kind of like under the impression like, oh no, you see all these scary things online about how like caffeine can cause a miscarriage, which it's like, I'm not going to say that's completely false because I'm not a doctor, but according to my OB, a small amount of caffeine is not going to put you at a huge risk. So it took me a little bit of time to like realize that and get over this kind of like fear of things. So yeah, it was pretty rough. And on the top of that, I was having a lot of migraines, just a lot. And so it was rough. It was rough. I'm not gonna lie, my first trimester was not great. And I say all this just to be honest with you. So if someone out there is watching that and they're going through it, they don't feel alone. So I had to kind of listen to my body. I fell asleep one night at like 6:30 p.m. and woke up at 6:30 a.m. I'm like, that's something I would never do, but it's gonna happen and it's okay. So I tried a lot to listen to my body and to just like fight through those really bad feelings. And I think journaling really helped. And yeah, I think that getting those thoughts out, even though they're not positive, happy thoughts to look back on, it's okay because it just helps. It's very therapeutic to get it out. I cried some. I did end up telling my mom I was pregnant when I was about 6 weeks pregnant because she actually sent me a text message and was like, how's your new job going? Do you have any good news for me? Like, can you at least tell me you're pregnant? And I'm like, what? So crazy. And she had no idea, but just, I guess, a mother's intuition type thing. So I called her and I was like, oh, you know, here's the latest news. And also, you were right. I am pregnant. And she started freaking out. She was like so excited, you know. And so then I started talking to her about my nausea, and she gave me some great advice that had worked for her. And you know, since we have the same DNA, I thought it might work for me, but she recommended pretzels in place of saltine crackers, which I found for nausea worked a lot better. So I was eating a lot of pretzels. And, you know, it was really good. I feel like that this whole you're not really supposed to tell anyone until you're 12 weeks or 3 months, I think it's kind of baloney. I think if you find out you're 1 minute pregnant and it would help you to tell someone, go on, girl. You tell someone and get that support system, because I really should have done that. I should have called and been like, oh, I'm pregnant. And if something does happen and you have a miscarriage, you know, then you can tell that person and they'll understand. But I think that having some people around you can talk to is so vital. I did also end up telling, I think after my first ultrasound, I told some of my very close friends here, because I went to a yoga class and I'm like, I can't wait till 12 weeks. I can't see these people every day that are my best friends and not tell them because it's killing me. So yeah, I think that don't tell anyone until you're 3 months pregnant. I think that's such a baloney thing. If you feel like it's best, so you do that. I didn't like announce to like my Facebook, you know, friends and all of that until like just recently, because, you know, once you tell like a wider range of people, then it is sadder if something were to happen. But to tell your close friends and family, I think is okay. Yeah. So besides those kind of negative things, I don't want you to think that everything was all negative. I do feel like something positive that came out of my first trimester is I even got more in tune with my body. In this whole process of getting pregnant, I really became in tune with my body and my reproductive system and everything. And I feel like even more so, because when I couldn't take migraine medications and things like that, I had to kind of rely on other techniques. I was using some music to try and help. Like, I was really reaching, okay? Like, I was feeling nauseous. I was searching for things online, like different sounds that help with nausea, which surprisingly did work a little bit for me. I was on a Spotify playlist, so I can see how I can get that to you, that information to you. But I feel like that I did become a little bit more in tune with my body and knowing how to handle nausea and how to handle things without relying on caffeine or without relying on anything else. So yeah, and I also like became a little bit more okay with just taking it easy, because when you're not pregnant, let me know if you agree with this, when you're not pregnant and you just feel extremely tired, a lot of times there's this idea that you should just push through it and keep going, you should hustle hard, blah, blah, blah. But when you're pregnant, people are more like, no, you should take it easy. And I think regardless whether you're pregnant or not, listening to your body and knowing when you need rest is so vital, because your body's telling you something. So you gotta listen, or eventually down the road, your body's gonna break down and be like, I tried to tell you. So I feel like I have been able to see what my body needs a little bit more. In terms of cravings for the first trimester, at first, before the nausea hit, I was craving things that were spicy and salty, like, you know, pretzels and stuff, but I didn't have really any cravings. I had so many aversions, like my smell became supersonic. It still is, but not as bad. I told my husband, I wish I could just turn off all of the smells in the world. Like, even the things that I love to smell the most, it just made me nauseous, made a headache, perfume, just everything. I'm like, I don't want to smell anything. So supersonic scent, and really I just lost my appetite completely, aversion to all food, nothing sounded good, just everything, literally thinking about foods made me feel nauseous. I was able to sleep really well, so I feel like very fortunate in that. And the other thing that happened like immediately for me is that like my bra size, like my boobs were extremely swollen, and I grown like 2 bra sizes like instantly. It was crazy. I was like, kind of woke up one day and was like, whoa, what is happening to my body? So yeah, that's kind of what happened to me in the first trimester. Wasn't the greatest, but I made it through. And I hope that anyone watching this, if you're going through that, like, I feel you. You for sure have every right to feel like it sucks. Being in second trimester a little bit more, like, it does get better. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep going. And if anyone needs any support, my email is always in the description box. Send me an email and I'll do whatever I can, because I know it. I know how you're feeling. I will say that I'm getting very excited now, and my energy is coming back now in the second trimester, so you can expect a lot more videos because I'm like feeling well enough to do them. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me and sticking with me and not abandoning me when I was not feeling well. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, maybe learned something. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Also, when you give the video a thumbs up, it helps other people find it, and that's kind of my goal. So if you could do that, that'd be amazing, because I want people who might be in my similar situation to find this content. If you aren't already subscribed, I would love to have you here on this journey with me, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.